Yeah. All right. We will get that exactly right at some point.
Exactly.
But happy Friday, everybody. It's Lenny Murphy, Karen Lynch. How are you, Karen?
I'm well. How are you?
Doing all right. Glad that it's Friday. It's been a week, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has been a week.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, and we have a good bit to talk about as always. But one thing that you and I both were like, that's our lead story.
It
That's
really is. I
ooh.
mean, I have never seen something on LinkedIn that I have been sucked into the way I was just sucked into, and then enjoying the comment thread as much as I have been enjoying. So, for those of you who haven't been paying attention to oh my gosh, Jay Ty at Echo MR. He is doing something that is, I think, an industry first. I've never seen anything like it. And it's like great journalism. Can I like the journalism geek in me is like, that is good. It's good interviewing because we all, and certainly the qualitative world, love interviewing, but it's good journalism to have uncovered a source that is clandestine in this way. So anyway, I'm totally in. Lenny, tell them what they're doing, and then I'll just start to just jump on it because I can't wait to talk about it.
Okay. So, good folks at Echo, Carrie, and Jay, they've been concerned about data quality for a long time. I mean, they are a qualitative recruiting company, kind of at their core. That's a core function for them. So, this obviously it's something close to home. And Jay tracked down a bot farm operator. I'm not sure how he did that. And he's doing an interview that they're breaking up into episodes.
21 chapters, 2 chapters per video. So this past week, so like 3 days ago, they released the first 2 that introduce us to Moss, 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 who is the botnet operator. Like, and that's where I totally want to start with, like, because first of all, I'm like, I must have known there were human beings behind the bots.
Yeah.
On some level, I must have known that. But seeing a human being talk about like how that sausage is being made, I was like, oh, damn, that is not something I put together at all. That there was that. It's just like it was mind shifting for me today. So you probably knew more about that, but and knew more about these farms or whatever. But
well, it's been, there's over the years, we've certainly recognized this. Again, in ad tech, this is a multi-billion-dollar issue. And it may be a multi-billion-dollar issue in research as well now. But so there's been several exposés in blog form, et cetera, about this over the years. But nothing like this, nothing that I'm aware of an interview with one of the guys who runs this as a business and divulging how he got into it and how they operate. And even, which was, we'll get into this in a second, but the validation on why he doesn't feel bad about it.
Well, that blew me away. He's like, I'm just doing the work of the evil master. Like it's not on us. We don't have ethical responsibility here. That's on the people that are paying us. Yes. I thought, okay, that's really interesting. So if they are assisting somebody, they're just doing their job. And so the detachment from that accountability for the problem was so interesting.
It was, and divulging. So there's a value chain, right? There's a series of stakeholders in this, and according to Moss, their biggest clients are research companies.
Yeah, that's crazy to even think about. And it was short, right? This was a short video. And I was like, well, I think like not even 3 minutes. I mean, it was, or maybe a little more than that, but it was not a long listen. And anyway, it blew me away. Some of the things that are in the comment thread, you'll see, aside from like the mention of getting the popcorn, this should be a Netflix series. Like there's a lot of fun being had because it is as riveting as a LinkedIn feed can get, in my opinion. But
yeah, it really is. So
it's ridiculous. So everybody who's like, now like paying attention, anyway, it's all really cool. But some of the things in the comments, somebody was mentioning these sample farms where you can buy training courses online through back channels like in Discord and Telegram. And there are survey runners, which are essentially the kingpins of this underworld that bundle bot scripts together along with AI plugins as a premium add-on for thousands of active surveys. And you can buy bundles of 500, 1,000, or 2,000, depending on what you want to spend. What? Like, this is packages available for purchase. Again, I can't get my head around this because it just feels mind-boggling.
And this is so again, this is an adaptation of what has existed in the world of ad tech for a very long time, right? Yeah. And it's the same damn thing. Well, I've got to be careful here because I have a very strong opinion on how we got here.
Okay. I love when he censors himself because that's for all of our best interests, right?
It is. Look,
I appreciate that minute.
It's a financial decision, right? I mean, so there's money to be made. So therefore, people figure out a way to cut corners and do that. Yeah. That's the bottom line. What was really interesting about this as well was, and I'd heard this anecdotally for quite some time, it's not so much the 50-cent incentive, the dollar incentive consumer stuff. It's the B2B. That's what they were talking about, going for the the $50 incentives. Those are B2B respondents. And we have heard our friends at Case, when the Case for Quality, when they presented with the Insight Association last year and also discussed it on our podcast, plug, that the fraud that they were seeing and the quality issues they were seeing were far more glaring in B2B.
Yeah.
And we've heard that from our friends. Recently did with our friends at LNE, did a webinar with Microsoft, and Barry Jennings from Microsoft had said that they see more fraud within B2B surveys, research, than in consumer, because it just stands out. It's pretty clear that somebody's full of crap, right? Right. So that's interesting. And I had heard anecdotally on one of the webinars that Case did with Insight Association, and I forget exactly who said it, but it was a client, that 70% of their sample for B2B was fraudulent.
Crazy.
It is,
because you want to have faith in professionals to behave differently than mainstream population. You really want to, but
the professionals are. That's the point. They're not talking to the professionals.
Right.
This isn't about the professionals. This is about people pretending to be the professionals.
Right.
So,
well, there is a professional somewhere that is
has coached them, right? But I know we're already 10 minutes in, but this really is a big issue. And I was in a conversation this morning with the CEO of a company that owns a panel that is doing a lot of work around AI training sets.
Yeah.
And we talked about this specific issue, and because here's the thing. It's not just bad survey answers make somebody run with a subpar ad.
Right.
Or with a subpar product.
Right.
Now that's big enough, right? There can be, the new Coke scenario, right? So dating ourselves. I mean, really bad, stupid decisions.
Yeah.
There's that. But in the era of AI now, when we were all depending upon this technology to give us answers, garbage in, garbage out. If the answers are bullshit, and that is the case, I mean, let me be clear, forgive my cursing, but let's call it what it is. This is bullshit.
Yeah.
Then it has wide ranging implications, because the next evolution for market research and for panel companies is to be to provide more information to the AI models that we are all going to be depending on to do many things in our world. And when the data is bad, when it is fraudulent, that can be incredibly scary.
Yeah.
It really can. Think about the far-ranging implications if AI is running a hospital system on insights from patients and making decisions on patient care, and that patient feedback
Yeah.
that is part of that training set is fraudulent.
Yeah. Yeah.
People can die. I mean,
Yeah.
they're literally, right?
Yeah.
And that, I
That's
don't want to sound histrionic. I mean,
glad you brought up. Yeah.
yeah, this is not this is not an issue that we can dismiss simply because of, well, we're paying 50 cents complete. What do you expect? So, this, if left unchecked, has far reaching implications, not to mention the credibility for the industry. We've let this go on for too long. We let the race to the bottom and the race for efficiency, which are not bad things. We want price and we want cost to decrease. Go ahead. Sorry, I'm on a soapbox.
I know. No, it's good stuff. It's good stuff. But what I was going to say is, we talk a lot about the importance of the things we can control as researchers, which is we'll clean the data and we will be mindful of what's the percentage that's fraudulent versus we'll lean on the percentage that isn't and all that. Like we do that at a project by project basis, but it's the systemic problem that we don't have solutions for.
That's right.
And we need to start to apply our thinking outside of the companies we work for and covering our asses for the research project.
Right.
Sorry, I also curse, but we're 1 for 1 now. Winning. But think about what can we do to get ahead of it at a higher level, because that's where it needs to stop. And I don't know that anybody's doing, maybe Case is, that level of thinking is beyond just what we all have control of in our own companies.
Well, there are many, so here's the inherent tension, right? So the traditional double opt-in panels, right? That the industry, the first wave of online panels, arguably didn't have this issue as bad. I'm not going to say that they were immune to it, but they certainly didn't have as much of it, because there was some relationship with the individual, and it wasn't perfect, but it was better. The double opt-in panels are expensive. There's a lot of churn. They're expensive to maintain. They take more incentives, yada 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 yada. Right. So as we drove for speed and cost efficiencies, we moved away from that model to a great extent and moved into sample models that on the surface seem to make a lot of sense in terms of randomization, et cetera, but we lost the ability to confirm that these were real respondents. And I think that we are seeing that reflected in market conditions now. I think companies that my observation is that sample providers and recruiters within the world of qualitative that have an engaged relationship with validated identity of consumers, and there's lots of ways to do that. They seem to be doing pretty darn well right now. The companies that do not necessarily have all of those components seem to be struggling. And I think the struggle is because of the quality issue finally not being something that can be covered up, because it's a supply issue as well. And last thing, and we'll move, we give it back to you. This is only going to get worse because of AI. This is a vicious circle, and I've spoken about publicly. We have experienced the impact of AI respondents within the GRIT survey. And if it's happening in GRIT, it damn well is happening in our panels, and they're really hard to find. So it's going to be faster, it's going to look better, et cetera. And we've got to move towards a model of engaging real respondents, and whatever that takes to engage them in a very competitive landscape for attention. So incentives, giving them, making a more pleasant experience, validating identity, giving them more opportunities to do more things that deliver value to them, either socially or fun or economically. that we can't kick this can down the road anymore.
Yeah.
And Jay and Carrie are showing that front and center. They have ripped the Band-Aid off. We're
Yeah.
seeing the nasty abscess at the core.
Yeah.
And it's time, industry. We can't, thank you, Jay and Carrie, for just, it's such a wonderful human way to connect and go, oh my God, this is not an abstract concept anymore. We're seeing the masked face of a guy.
Right. And I know, literally. And the one of the comments that Jay made is, this is the time for the conversation around, do we rip up all of the guardrails about past participation and just say, look, what's better? Isn't it better to have somebody who maybe has participated before, but they are a real life human being, than roll the dice with this? Like, maybe it's time to rethink that whole thing. And I know that, before I joined Green Book, on the tail end of my kind of independent researcher days, we were already starting to build some of that in and getting kind of, people into the studies and the boards and the communities that I was building who have done this before, but they at least are validated personalities. So, and people and human beings as opposed to bots, right? So I just think that's the conversation a lot of you need to be having with your partners. And, do we really want to do that? Let's just really think through whether that is putting a barrier to authenticity and integrity in the way that maybe it's time to pluck it out. So,
And last thing, for those that I don't want to come across as disparaging towards the players that in the programmatic space, I think there is a role for programmatic. I also think that that they are trying very hard to figure out ways to address this issue. And they certainly have all gone very far to implementing technology to try and catch these people. And God bless you. Thank you for doing that, or else it could be a hell of a lot worse than it is.
Right, for sure.
Yeah, but I challenge everyone now. We've got to think about the front end. We've got to think about the engagement. It's not just about optimizing the quality on the back end and about catching the cheaters and all of those things. We're always going to have to do those things, but we need to fundamentally rethink how we engage with respondents and bring them into the system to drive insights. And it's got to be based on validated identity, on knowing who these people are. I just challenge everyone to focus on both ends. It's not just, from a supply chain standpoint, we've got to look at the source as well as the output.
Yeah. And speaking of consumers and the, ultimately the people that we want participating, I do want to share before our time is kind of, way past us, these stats from this study on kind of like individuals and the sharing of their data, right? And it speaks to the importance of just our utmost concern for data privacy and quality. So this was, and again, we'll share all these links as we do, but user testing shared finding from its AI in Retail Global Survey, which looked into consumer attitudes and experiences concerning the use of AI in retail across the US, Australia, and the UK. It was conducted by OnePoll. But there was this paradox that this research uncovered, which is while a majority of consumers voice privacy concerns over AI use, they're still overwhelmingly willing to exchange personal data for better deals and savings. In the US, 87% of respondents are amenable to providing personal information to retailers for cost savings benefits. So people are really, first of all, money, right? Like we are paying people $1 to do a survey, $1 for their time. When
we're paying less than that, Karen. We're paying like a quarter.
A quarter. When these are people that are like, I'll give you my firstborn child if you give me a discount on a grocery item. Like, can we just think with empathy for the human beings who are shopping and are at the heart at purchasing the products that we are so interested in surveying about? Like, think about what their need state is, that they're willing to give up their data to a scenario that they're not even sure they trust in AI for cost savings. And we're also paying them pennies to do the work that is keeping us successful in our professional roles. What?
Yep. Yeah. There's so many directions to go there, but we'll just focus on what you said, because I think that it's the core of it. a fair value exchange, right?
Yeah.
And people have different definitions of what a fair value exchange is. I always think of it as it's either it's monetary, it's social, or it's entertainment. I think everything kind of falls into one of those three buckets, right? It fulfills some need that we have on those things, and it's up to the individual to determine what that value of that is. And the success of those type of platforms, which have been great, by the way. There are many like Swagbucks from Protege. I mean it's a discount. You earn points and you get discounts, and they also do sample. So there's lots of value there. Back in the old day, eRewards, which currently Dynata, it was you earn loyalty points, right? Blockbuster, remember Blockbuster, right? You got Blockbuster points for taking surveys. Great, fine. It's a fair value exchange, but it has to be a fair value.
Hey, give me the $5 Starbucks gift card or that Tango reward system. Like, give me a cup of coffee. Right? If it has to be, not a high ticket value, like give me something for my time that at least I can say, well, at least I get that. It feels like then we have a mutually agreeable arrangement here, not something where I'm desperate, right? Desperate.
Right. And building with real people from a redemption standpoint. Yeah. So, we can make sure that, that it's not just going to a bot. And be cognizant of their privacy. So it's all connected.
All connected. Exactly. I really that we have another topic, but I'm looking at the time. It's already been over 20 minutes, Lenny. I feel like we should talk about some of the other stuff the next time, and just let people know that we're going to share these links in the places where we share the links. right.
Wherever we on LinkedIn and YouTube. And hey, we'll shill. I mean, follow Jay Ty and Carrie Hecht and Echo MR for this riveting docudrama series.
Sidebar lesson for those of you content marketers who are listening right now. Jay's post is really clever because he's also like, go to the Echo profile and click on the, the bell icon to follow this conversation. And I'm like, what a way to get followers. Like,
big shout out.
Genius move, actually. So, all of the content marketers who are here listening in the insight space, like, recognize that was also genius because I did it. I mean, I already see what they were doing, but I went over to click that bell because I was like, have I clicked the bell? Am I following them? Like, I wanted to know because I want to get these episodes.
Yes. Oh, and shout out to Jay too. At SMR, he had a drone. I guess it was a drone. It had to be a drone following him around, and he would just do these quick videos of that perspective. And it's like, dude, you're badass. And as far as the marketing, is very cool.
Stock just went up.
Yeah, I mean, it was really hats off. It was really a lesson in doing that. But this isn't about promoting Jay or Carrie or Echo. They're doing good work. But this topic, pay attention to this topic. And we already have these big nuclear bomb explosions of, suppliers pay us for the fraud. Who the hell knows what's going to come next in the next episodes? But
I know. And it's going to be hard for us not to talk about this every single week. So we promise we will give credit and give airtime to all the other topics as well. It's this one.
This is a big one.
We do have that email address active now, theexchange@greenbook.org. So if you want to make sure we are in the know to, stories that you think are catching your attention, if you're like, hey, there's a link, I'd really love to hear your take on this, email us at that. It goes to both Lenny and I. We should both be able to kind of track industry conversations that way. We'll also be able to read feedback. So if you have anything else you want to say about us, Karen, talk more. Lenny, quiet
less. Yes, please give us that feedback.
No, I'm kidding.
You should talk more. One day we're going to do this. It's going to be the challenge. It's going to be a challenge Friday. And I'm just going to sit here.
No. Remember, I've been paid to listen for the majority of my career. So it is a default I step into, is to listen and learn. That's what qualitative researchers do, for heaven's sake. So anyway, so it is in my my DNA to take it all in. So that's what you're seeing, folks, is, my background in listening in action here.
And my background having a big mouth for
My gosh, that's so funny. Anyway, Nancy, yes, you do need a drone to follow you around. Thank you. It's true. We
God.
all could use a drone, but it reminds me of
No.
there was that TV show a couple of years ago that like there was that, anyway, I don't want to go down this rabbit. This is what we do at the end. I devolve into a sidebar conversations of like, of really people watching you and what you're doing. And
Yep. All
one day
right.
we'll talk about drones and we'll go on. Thank you, Patrick. I really appreciate
Oh, yes. Thank you, Patrick. Yes. And thank you, Nancy. All right. We're going to end this right now. I actually have to run and pick up my oldest daughter from the airport in Louisville. So I'm excited for that. So
excellent. I have parents weekend at one of my children's universities. So that's where I am headed because,
All right.
doing that parent thing.
It's yes, parent weekend for both of us.
Parent weekend.
Yes. So on that note, we're going to go be parents, not just market researchers, but we will talk to everybody next Friday.
All right. Have a good week, everybody. Lenny, thank you.
Thanks, everybody. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.